Welcome to Seekers and Shifters, where we talk to the world's foremost experts in personal growth and development and ask them everything we really want to know. Hey there, Seekers and Shifters. Today's guest is Wendy Feldman, and she is so incredible. She really went through some ridiculous things in her life and has bounced back better than ever. So I was so excited to talk to her about that. She is in the health and wellness space. So we dug deep in this episode on food, nutrition, how to deal with social pressure around food, how to make those types of changes. So if you're into that, if you're looking to make a health change like I've been doing lately, I think you'll really enjoy this episode. Please join me and my conversation with Wendy Feldman. Wendy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. And I love that you said your friend, Wendy Feldman. So that makes me happy. Thank you, number one. Thank you so much for just having me here and being with your listeners and your viewers today. Yes. Introduce myself. I'm not sure if you know that you opened up, that could take the full 45 minutes of our call today. I'm like, I'm not sure. Let's see where do I start? But just what do you want to talk about today? Because you've had some really cool life experience. It probably didn't feel cool at the time, but you've had like some near-death experiences. You've lived through some shit. Yeah, I have. And so kind of based on that, I've been a health and wellness coach and a fitness instructor for the last 15 years. Health and wellness has really been kind of my world. And I was a very, very avid road cyclist. And about 13 years ago, after riding for 10 years, kind of not like almost every day out there on the road, I had never had an accident, never fallen. 13 years ago, I did. And I had a really bad crash and it left me in the middle of the road, unconscious, and woke up in a helicopter being transported to a trauma center. And little did I know that experience, which was more than traumatic, I'm blessed to be alive, severe brain injury, traumatic brain injury and whatnot. Little did I know that over time, that incident would be one of the greater gifts I experienced in my life. And part of introducing myself, I'm also a mom of 3 in their 20s. So my 3 children are truly the greatest gifts of my life. So nothing will compare to that. Though the 3 traumas that I have had in the last 10 years, 2 road cycling accidents and a surgical procedure, let's say, that didn't go the way it was supposed to, left me all 3 times pretty close to death. And I have taken from those, put so much into perspective, Michelle, that I've realized how short, and that sounds so cliche, how short life really is, but it really is. And what has come from all 3 of those, I feel more myself today. I feel more my authentic, my true, my real self today than I've ever been in my 60 plus years of life.
It's amazing what it strips away from you. I mean, what's fascinating about your story, and because it would be life-changing, traumatic for anybody to be in accidents like that. And for you, that was your livelihood. That was your identity, as a health and fitness coach, as a fitness person. It wasn't just like, I was out riding a bike on Sunday, right? Like not only your physical health and everything else, but like your work and your professional identity stripped away in some ways, right?
Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that because it's so true. I mean, that especially cycling, that was my, I really identified, that was such me. And it's like almost everybody kind of knew me as such a cyclist. And it was my tribe of people, my community, you build this. And when that got taken away from me, when I realized I got back on the bike after the first one about a year and a half later, then had a second crash, hit my head in the same place, and it caused a second traumatic brain injury. And that was when the doctor looked at me and was like, and my kids saying, Mom, like, please. And it was really hard to have to give that up because that was such an important part of my world. And it was peace to me. It was my little mini sanctuary. It was my ability to connect with nature. And it was my spirituality, being out and to be able to adventure out in the universe. And that was what made me feel really good. And when that got taken away, like you said, it was stripped away from me. And that was very, very challenging. It's like, how do you pick yourself up? And so I ended up turning that into becoming a spin instructor. So I ended up becoming an indoor spin instructor so that I couldn't ride on the bike outdoors anymore, but I, became trained. And that became such a great thing for me. But it's very true. When things get taken away from you, when you least, we all think, because no one thinks that's going to happen. I didn't think my marriage after 20 years was going to end either. And you don't say it's taken away from me. I don't want to play. There's no victim here. We all, things happen to us. We allowed, and I allowed a lot of things in my life that mistreatment. Sometimes I call myself a recovering doormat, which is like I felt like for many, many years of my life, no one's fault but my own, that I just allowed. I was such a people pleaser. Let's put it that way. I was such a people pleaser. I didn't want to say no. I didn't want to disappoint. And it ended up taking me to a point where I almost literally crashed and burned because I was running at such a fast pace. It was not maintainable.
Sometimes the universe gives you subtle signs, and sometimes the universe knocks you on your ass, on your head, literally. And I imagine what that forced you to do was really focus on priorities to rebuild. I'm a mom, you're a mom, right? You get back to, you know what? If I'm here for my kids, right? First of all, that's number one, right? And then where do I go from that? And who am I from that? So and you're still in a process of rebuilding now, right? And transitioning now into a new professional identity. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, no, you are. I actually got certified to do health and wellness coaching a little over a year ago. And I was doing real estate. So I kind of went from being, I call it, as you're a coach, you get that. Coaching is so much of behavior change agent, right? It's like you're a behavior change agent because we're helping people for behavioral change. And I kind of say that I went from being a real estate agent to an agent in behavior change. And that's what I love about teaching. I love helping people. I love supporting people. It just, to me, that's where I feel in my happy place. And real estate was great, and it's helping people find a home and all of that. For me, though, I think I wanted to do it on a more global level and help people more in a health and wellness area. And that is where I feel like that I really thrive. Because I feel like as a nation, for sure, as a planet, globally, there's a lot of different health crises that are out there and that are on the brink, as you know. And I want to make an impact on the world and just help with that, decreasing that rate of things that are coming down the pike.
Oh man, I really want to dig into this nutrition, health, fitness thing. I'll tell you, in all of my personal growth and development work, this has been kind of the last piece to drop in for me. It was like the one I didn't want to do.
You're not alone. You're not alone. You're in good company there.
I'll even break that down, give myself a break. I'll break that down to the food, because I've been working out for a long time and I work out, and I'm strong. But I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm chubby and I'm strong, and that's cool. Like, I work out, I could lift a lot, but I could eat, and this is good. And it's just like in the last year, I've been like, all right, I really have to get my shit together with the food. Like, I have to, it's getting harder and harder to ignore and to bypass and to just pretend that I can eat McNuggets and then go to the gym and that's okay. Maybe that worked when I was in my 20s, but it's not working anymore. And I've had to come to a really clean diet and really whole foods. It kind of bragged kicking and screaming. Frankly, I wish I could just say I woke up enlightened one day and but it's
like poof, wave the magic wand, right? We have that little, just like done, it's done.
I will tell you though, on the magic wand tip, because this is a famous story. As part of my training to become a hypnotist with some of my NLP advanced training, we have to come up with our own suggestions. We have to hypnotize each other. We practice on each other. And the instruction was, whatever area of your life you're working on, write your own suggestions that are going to be given to you about in that area of life. And I was tired. We'd been in class a lot. And I was working on physical health. And so I was just being kind of snarky, and I was writing, I love salad. Salad is amazing. Salad's my favorite. And it was a whole page of just salad affirmations. It was I always look for salad. I eat salad every day. And I was just kind of a dick, right? I'm just writing all these things down. And then it turned out that these are the suggestions that we're using in exercise for 2 full days, right? And so everyone else, their suggestions that they've written for themselves are I am manifesting my perfect career and I am going to be helping millions. And mine are I love salad. Salad is great. And the guys, trying to hypnotize me with this. And I mean, everybody's just cracking up. We're getting in trouble. Like we're not really able to even focus on it. We're just dying laughing in class. It still worked. And I, from that day forward, have loved salad.
Okay. Case in point. You were like the perfect, that's amazing. Like, look at that. I mean, as simple as that, where yes, that is such a great story. I'm so glad you shared that, because think about that. Like, we always think when we have to think of something really big, like, yes, it's exactly like what it is with when we do our coaching, I do my coaching. It's little things. I love salad, or I like salad. Like, that's a little thing. That's not, I want to change the world. I want to do it. Because when we set goals that are, as you know, we set the goals, and that's very common to set goals that are really lofty. And then when people make the goal, then we feel like we failed, right? Like, I love salad. You wrote that down, or however many times you wrote it on your paper. I like salad. But it kind of got in your brain and it worked. So it worked.
It did.
It worked. So now you're a little rabbit.
I started making my own salads at home, which I never had done before. When I go to a restaurant, salad is the first. I'm like, salad with chicken. And I was like, I will call myself out on this. I used to think ill of people who were like salad. Like, if we went out and you were like the chicken salad girl, I was like, like, you're no fun. Like, you're a chicken.
Salad. What is it about? And see, there you go. See what goes around. See, you'd be saying that about me, because, I wish that we lived closer, because then you and I could go out, we could eat salads. We'd sit and eat to find the best salads. Although I have to say, though, when I do order a salad, I do like to throw in an order of French fries.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm just straight chicken salad. Look, for anyone listening, if you're in the DC area and you want to go out for a salad, because I don't want to go out for a drink anymore. You call me and you say, do you want to go out for a drink? No. Do you want to go out for Mexican food? I don't. If you call me and say, do you want to go get salads? Like, yes, I want to go get salads. If you call me, we'll do it.
That's awesome. Where's your favorite place? Where do you go?
Well, what I love about the salad strategy is that you can get no matter what kind of restaurant you're at, there's some kind of like grilled chicken salad situation. Sometimes it's like a Caesar salad. If you're in an Italian, it's like, there's always a salad. And it's just such a great go-to when you're trying to eat healthy and you're out. And sometimes there's not a lot of great choices depending on the kind of restaurant you're at. They always have that, or they can make it for you. And I have gotten comfortable with being the kind of person that says, hey, do you have this in the back? Can you make it? Which I never would have done before.
It's like the Harry Met Sally, right? You become that little, and it's so funny because that's a question that I have that a lot of my clients ask me. They're like, so tell me, what do you do when you go out to a restaurant? What do you do? Like, they're like, I've seen you, Well, how do you do it? And so many times that's an answer. It's like most restaurants today have become very aware of for dietary, whether it's gluten, which I'm gluten free, and dairy. So restaurants have become very accommodating, right? And all over the world. But you are so right when you say, typically, if you went to a restaurant, and because if they have lettuce, and typically they'll have some kind of protein, they can put it on a plate. They can put it on a plate for you. So it's very common. And I love that. And so you've incorporated that into your world, and it's become, again, you're in good company from where you were, and you're in great company now, because that is what you see in the restaurants. They'll all do it because they know that so many people are asking for it. So next time I'm in DC, or you're out in San Francisco, we're gonna salad.
We're definitely getting a salad. And if you're hearing this and you want to come join us for salads, like, hit us up. We'll give
reach out. I'm a salad maven out here, and I love salads. So, yeah.
There you go. And we're hypnotizing you right now. You love salads, don't you? Imagine yourselves loving salads. That's right.
Yes. I do love French fries. Maybe I need to swap that one out. Maybe I love salad more than fries.
I'll put on that if you wanted to stop eating not that you need to, but anyone out there who wants to stop eating French fries, we have stuff for that. We can do that. I wanted to ask you, Wendy, because this is something that's at least in the DC area, and I think in the San Francisco area too, like, it's very progressive, very politically progressive, kind of woke areas. That word is so loaded, but you know what I mean, right? Where a lot of people are very liberal. And in the last few years, it became kind of not okay to talk about your diet, or especially if you wanted to lose weight. I found myself feeling really sheepish about, I didn't want to post on the internet or anything like that, I'm on a health journey, or especially anything about my weight, or I'm trying to lose weight, because I would get pushback that sounded like, well, that's insulting to me. You're saying you don't want to look like me. Or I'm like, I'm saying I want to fit in my own underwear. I'm not talking about you. But it became, and I think the tide is turning back now, but for a long time, it was kind of, for, the last 6, 7, 8 years, it was kind of taboo to even want to be healthy, or especially to want to associate being thin with being healthy or anything like that. And there are some real factual correlations there between weight and health and weight. For me, I'm pre-diabetic. I had gestational diabetes, so I really have to watch. I'm really trying to not go into like a full-blown diabetes situation. I wear this continuous glucose monitor. I watch my glucose. And when I am a little heavier, it's very easy to see on my data set. It's a lot harder to manage my sugars. Even losing 10 pounds makes it a lot easier to manage. So this is a real thing, at least for me. This is a real thing. And I kind of hate that we can't talk about it anymore. I do appreciate that we're not in like the toxic body culture of the 90s when everyone was supposed to look like Kate Moss or whatever. But there's got to be a happy medium, Wendy.
First of all, again, I'm so glad you just brought that up. And I didn't realize that you had the patch on. And that's the other thing. Look how far we've come, like with medicine, that people can monitor it, because one of my big things is awareness. And just being aware. You just said it yourself, even months ago, when you're like, it was aware that you're like, you know what? I'm just not feeling great. It's an awareness. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, is be aware and actually acknowledge it. Because we don't want to, in many cases, we don't want to acknowledge that maybe there's some kind of an issue. But the thing is, today we have so much you can do. And that monitor is a great thing. So you're right. Our culture has changed. There was a while where, yes, in the 90s and 80s, the culture was, you got to be, this thin, and that's what's in. And I mean, sure, you see with social media today, there's a lot of stuff going on because things are, and especially now we've got AI generated things that are coming up, and who even knows what's going to happen with that. But then there was that time, like you're talking about, where it was like, oh no, you should be able to eat what you want, do what you want, be free. And you can. There's no reason people can't do that. You can do whatever you want in life. Where it comes in is, are you going to have a health ramification because of it? So, there's many people, I hear it around, I hear it, I read it, I see it. You probably do. We're both, we're coastal cities. It's like, look, I'd rather eat and do everything I want to do and die when I'm 75 than live to 90 and I'm like, okay, well, that may be a school of thought for sure. And though I think it's about quality of life. How do you want to live those years? Because we're seeing that our country, you look at the CDC, will tell you, our country, we're moving toward an obesodemic. And that doesn't mean that, when people hear the word obese, people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear that word. And so it's like it's obese. Obese does not mean large. It's your body mass index, right? It's your BMI. And we have diabetes, like, and so I love that you have that patch on and that you're taking care of yourself. You're listening to yourself. You've made changes. I mean, how do you feel from making those changes?
Amazing. And it's like, as soon as I got my head around the fact that, I didn't need to go be like a fun party chick all the time anymore. Like, if I needed to stay home and eat healthy and eat foods that I could measure, and I knew exactly what was in it, and I didn't make my own food, and at least learn how to manage things with real-time data, which is I'm such a nerd. I love the real-time data, and I can track all this and I could see the specific correlations. It's like, it's okay for me to put my health first and say to people, no, thank you, I'm prioritizing my health. It took me until really now in my life to get to the point where I felt okay about that. And I didn't feel, some kind of way about how other people were going to feel about me prioritizing my health. Because as you know, when we start to prioritize our health, or when we get sober, any of these things, when we start to work out and we start telling our friends or family about that, some people will receive that as like a judgment on them. Like, oh, the way I eat isn't good. Or, oh, so you're saying something about the fact that I'm drinking right now. It's like, no, I don't give a fuck. Like, do
whatever you want. And that's exactly it. And that's the one thing that I don't believe that people should have to ever deprive yourself of anything. You can live a very happy, very healthy, very fun life without having to deprive yourself. If you know what works right for your body, if you know what types of food are going to work the best, it's about eating what's going to be best for your body. Every body is different. Every human is different. Every day is different. So I personally, I'm not a scale person. I haven't probably the only time I get on a scale is if I go to the doctor. Because for me, I feel like, because I battled with weight for a lot of years in my life. I really did. It was until I gave up the wheat and the gluten that I felt so much better. And I was realizing, so my point being, it was that when you put things into your body that your body may not know what to do with because of your blood type or your genotype or just a hereditary whatever, it doesn't know how to process it. It doesn't know where to go. So it hangs out there. It sits there. And then that can ultimately turn into sugars and turn into fat. So when we know what to eat that's right for our body, you shouldn't have to deprive. Does that, I mean, I don't know if I explained that clearly.
No, well, it makes sense to me. And I think what I spent many years not getting, because I would yo-yo diet, right? And I would eat healthy for a while. And then actually like the weight would start to fall off. And what would happen to me psychologically is I'd be like, oh, well, look, I can lose weight whenever I want. So like, I don't need to try so hard. And then I would just go back up to the old weight and be like, yeah, anytime I want, I get, but then I wouldn't be consistent enough to really like lose it. Except a couple of times there have been times in my life, like postpartum, where I lost 50 pounds or something like that, but I was concentrated. Most of my life, it's just been up and down, up and down, up and down. I think what I didn't realize was I was in this, I need to eat this way and I can't eat these things. And then once I start eating these things, oh my God, I'm off the wagon. I couldn't just have like a cheat day. It was like a cheat month. And then, oh God, I got to get back up. What I realize now that I've been eating well consistently is that I don't want that stuff anymore. So I'm not depriving myself because it's not interesting to me. If I see a donut or a cupcake, like it looks gross to me now, just because once I'm off of that kind of food, I was in a KFC. I found myself in a Kentucky Fried Chicken yesterday. My son really wanted it. It's a long story. I'd buy it for him. I'm not being a psycho about it. But I was just looking at the KFC menu and I was like, I don't even want this. And there was a time in my life, I'm from Oklahoma originally, like fried food was like life.
Yes. And it smells so good in there. Like it smells so good, the smell, right?
Not to me now.
Not anymore. So you said a couple of times, you said in the last moments, you said consistency. Number one, it's consistency. And it takes 30 days to build a habit. It takes 30 days to break a habit. And once you remove something that isn't serving you, and this does not have to be food really. This is a big part of a lot of what my work is too. It's taking out what you don't need. It's removing the excess. So that does not have to just be in your diet. It could be in your life. It could be whatever's, let's just say for the term toxic, whatever it is that's not working in your life, take it out. It can be a physical thing. It could be too much stuff in your house. Whatever. When I started to remove and pull away, you don't miss it. And it took time. When I first had to give up wheat, I was like, oh my gosh, because I loved pizza and I loved bagels and I loved all the bread. And it was like, and at first it was challenging. But now, I'll get that question, gosh, don't you just miss pizza? I'm like, I really don't. I really don't. And if I want it now, you can get really good gluten-free vegan pizza that's delicious if I wanted it. But even then, it's like, I'll have a couple bites, but I don't miss that. Just like you're saying, it's the same thing. It's like you don't get the craving anymore. And that's how I help work with people. It's like, if there's something that's just not working, whether it's whatever it is for anybody, take it out for a while, slowly wean off of it. You don't have to cold turkey, just maybe wean off it. But after a while, your body will adjust. And pretty soon, like you said, it could be whatever it is that didn't work for you, Michelle. You're like, I don't even want it anymore. And you find other alternatives and you will see you start to feel better. Your sleep, it could be whatever. Your numbers are better. And that's provides longevity in your life. That's what allows people to live a longer, it's proven.
Yeah, absolutely. And you start to realize that not only do you not need it or want it, but the reason that you wanted it before was because it was having some kind of a chemical effect. It was like a drug in your body. It's so much of the things that are marketed and sold as food now really aren't even food at all, or they're highly modified foods, highly processed foods that are really designed to be addictive to you and to create those chemical reactions in your body to make you want more of that. One of the things I realized when I started eating super clean is if I deviated at all, it would just throw things off. My cravings would be off. I'd be way more hungry. And it's like, you just see how it affects you like a drug in your body. And it's like, oh, I don't want that. I want to be sane. I don't want to be ruled by some chemical reaction that's happening because I ate something that was designed to set it off inside me.
Exactly right. And that's the thing, is that you do start to build up this, like you crave it, and it does become, without even knowing it. There's chemicals that are in certain, sweet products or whatever. That cause you to have more cravings, that make you want more and more. And ultimately, when you can remove those, and the fact you're saying, you're eating clean and you're on that point, it's complete. You're proving that point so beautifully that can happen. And it takes time, and it's not easy. But once you can do it, it's amazing how people can feel. And I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it with people who are like, wow, what a difference. I just know it in myself. And it's like that level of freeing, you just feel lighter. And I don't mean just lighter as in weight wise. It's just lighter all over.
Well, and it brings that ability to put up the boundaries with other people. Because I think, and I struggled with this for so many years. And I think a lot of people struggle with it, is the pressure from other people to eat certain things or drink certain things, especially even like at holiday times or celebrations, or there's traditions, or we're all going out for this, or we're all going out for that. We're all going out for margaritas and queso. Like, oh my God, I want to do, you get to a point where once you can realize physically, oh, you know what, that might taste good, but that's going to make me feel horrible. Like I might be, sick for the next 24 hours if I eat that. It's a lot easier than to say, you guys have fun, or like, I'll come and I'll sit there with you, but I'm not going to put that in my body judgment. I don't want to be on the toilet for the next 24 hours. So
Totally. I so wish that you and I lived closer. I'm like, oh my gosh. And everything that you're bringing up is like things I'm like, that's exactly it. It's social pressure. And if you notice now, especially, which I think is really cool, and I'm sure you're privy to all this, but a lot of restaurants now, a lot of bars are now doing these really cool cocktails that are mocktails, right? That are 0 proof. And it's very big with millennials now. And I love to see that, because we kind of know how we can feel. It doesn't mean you can't have something, unless of course a doctor says to you, no, this is, whatever. But it just means that there's other options. There's alternatives food wise. There's alternatives. Yeah. You want to still go have fun, but you want to be able to wake up in the morning and have your day and not feel really crappy and sleep really horribly. And that's why that's what I love about all the monitors we have. I love my Oura Ring. There's Apple Watch. There's all these things that you can monitor. So there's lots of things out there that you can say really see what's going on with your body. And then notice, after I went out the other night, how did my sleep go? Did it work better when I went to bed early and didn't have anything to drink, or didn't eat so much sugar, or whatever that may be. I'm just giving an example, but yeah. Yeah. And it's societal pressure, because people feel that all the time when you go out somewhere and they're like, oh, you're not drinking. And that was a big thing. Trying to think if it was a show or what I was watching, that they were saying, people have this thing about, they're like, they make you feel bad. You're not drinking. Like, oh, why aren't you drinking? And they were likening to like how it used to be in the 40s when people smoked, right? And smoking was smoking was so glamorized. Like it was all about, now it's not glamorized. And so there was a whole belief that that's going to happen. They're going to see that trend with alcohol as well. And that was why this whole thing about the mocktails is coming up, is trying to get people to not glamorize that,
I think it's name, man. I finally got old enough that people stopped asking me if I was pregnant every time I said I was, because that was annoying for like 20 years.
They wouldn't ask me that anymore. They're like, no, she's long beyond.
I went off to college. Yeah, they finally figured out that ship has sailed. But that was for a long time. It was like, oh, why wouldn't why would you possibly not be drinking other than you must be pregnant? I started just telling people like I'm sober, and I never said, oh, I'm in recovery, because that's not my journey. I haven't ever had it like an alcohol addiction, and I don't want to certainly make light of anybody who's dealing with that. But if you can kind of intimate it, like, no, I'm sober, I don't drink, people will back off eventually, because they'll be, oh yeah, okay, never mind, I'm not gonna, sometimes you have to be very firm with that. I don't drink, and I've started to do that too, with like, I don't eat this sort of food, And if somebody has a problem with that because they feel like it's a judgment on them and what they eat, like that's kind of their shit. You know what I mean?
Michelle, I was judged so many years of my life for eating the way that I ate. It was horrible. And that's not a great feeling. It didn't make me feel good. if I ate bread or something that had wheat, or I was, by the end of the night, I was so bloated that I looked like I was 4 months pregnant. And it was very uncomfortable. And I was like, to me, the pain felt so bad. I'm like, I don't want to do it because I don't feel good. I'd rather not eat it. So and so if someone makes you feel bad for that, it's like, well, that's on them. And like you said earlier in our talk today, sometimes it's more because that's either maybe they're thinking that you're passing judgment. You're not passing judgment. You're just saying, go do people should do whatever they want, right? Do what you want.
Absolutely. And we're doing what we want. And I think, it was instrumental for me, and hope, maybe this is helpful for somebody listening that's trying to make this transition. If you start thinking, I can't have that, or I can't eat that, or I don't, it's like can't and don't are very different, and they feel very different in your body. Can't does not feel empowering. Can't feels like, oh, I really want to actually have that and I can't. I would think, oh, I can have that. I can have a drink. I'm going to feel like shit tomorrow. I'm going to feel really hungover, but I could do that if I wanted to. I'm going to choose not to do that. But I'm grown. I could have a cupcake. I'm going to choose not to do that because it's going to make this thing go off the rails and I'm not going to sleep tonight. So I'm going to choose not to do that. And so for me to say, well, I don't drink, or I don't eat this kind of food, or I don't do drugs, it feels much more empowering than I can't have that.
It's so empowering. It's exactly that. It's the same thing if you're saying, I don't do drugs. Like, I don't eat that because of how it makes me feel. And I think that that's the shift. That's exactly the shift. And that's the empowerment that I know you feel. I feel that I want people to have that. You can do whatever you want. You were right. You can have whatever you want. It's your choice as to whether or not you want that. And that's where I think our society, I hope that's where we're going, because it didn't used to be like that you were shamed for feeling the way you wanted to feel. You were shamed for eating different or doing, I know how I was many times, and it was like, it didn't feel very good. And let people, people should do what they want to do. If they want to do that, that's great. You can do it. Like you said, you can do whatever you want to do. You have the power to make the choice of what is right for your mind, your body, your heart, your soul. Bottom line, that's it.
Well, and I'm thinking about you and all your healthy habits for so many years, and how that must have made your recovery somewhat easier. Not that your recoveries were easy in any way, but I bet you were grateful to have had that foundation of taking care of your body, because I think had the same thing happened to somebody who had not been taking care of themselves the way you had been taking care of yourselves for many years leading up to those incidents, the recovery probably would have been much more difficult, or maybe not even possible, right?
Yeah, no, you're such a wise woman. You're so good at being a podcast host, because you know exactly where to no, because that's so true. I think so when especially in the form of movement, when we exercise, when we whatever, you're breaking down tissues, right? So you're breaking down the muscles, which is what you want to do. You're breaking down the body's repairing right away. That's how you get strong. When your body is used to doing that, to breaking down and repairing on a daily basis, it could be as simple as walking 30 minutes a day. That's it. Any kind of movement that's concentrated like that, your body is used to it. So that if and when you do get sick, or you do get slightly injured or whatever, your body is used to repairing. It doesn't have to all of a sudden go from being very sedentary to now all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I got to heal. Because you are exactly right. I was able to physically get back pretty quick. It was more of the head trauma, but the physical, yes, that helps. And we see that with our clients at the studio all the time. When they're, the more they have noticed it themselves, like they repair so much faster. And same thing when you get sick, you get a cold, you get the flu, whatever, your body's used to, it's in repair mode. It's in it naturally. So thank you for bringing that up, because yes, I am a very big proponent of 30 minutes fresh air, 30 minutes walk, whatever a day. If you can get that, even the CDC says, 150 minutes a week, which is 5 days of 30 minutes. You can get that. That's the minimum they say people should have.
Well, I'm wondering, what are the stumbling blocks that people because people probably come to you sometimes and they're maybe just starting from scratch on this stuff, or they're, it's something that they haven't focused, especially I know a lot of moms, this is a stereotype because it's true. A lot of us, for so many years are raising children and they're little, and, you got family stuff and you got work stuff. It's just, your health goes to the side. and you're trying to cook for a family and you're trying to cook stuff your kids will eat. And then, you know, you get to a point where your kids grow up and work slows down a little bit and you go, wait a second, like I haven't been taking care of myself for 20 years. And then they come and say, Wendy, help me. What are the, where do you start?
No, I feel like you're like a fly on my wall at home. I'm like, how does she know that this is exactly what I get? This is the majority of so many of my calls, which is great. But yes, because that's what happened as a mom. We find that we're so wrapped up in the vortex of it, which you're a mom, you're involved. There's a lot of, you know, the clients I work with, they're newer moms. They have full-time jobs, you know, so they're busy. I mean, they're really busy. So it's a matter of finding out through the coaching process, like you understand this, it's really finding out what people's values are. What do they value? What do they want? Right? What is it that they want? And then when we kind of can determine what do you want? And then how important is that? Blah, blah, blah. Then we can say, okay, so from there, because I am a firm believer that giving advice to somebody, unless they specifically, it's certain things. I mean, there might be certain things if it's resource-based or whatever. Yes, those are things I will definitely interject. But I want the autonomy to go from them. I want them to own that. Just like you did it yourself. You wrote down, I like salad, I like salad, I like salad. You gave yourself that and you did it. If someone had told you, Michelle, write down whatever, and you did it, but that wasn't even really in your wheelhouse, you probably wouldn't be staying with it today. Maybe, maybe not. You chose that yourself. So it's about that impact, like you said, empowerment. So that's one thing I really like to do with my clients is first, let's peel back the onion a little bit before it's just like, because a lot of times they will come, help me. What do? I want to drop 20 pounds and da, da, da. That is fine. I'm here to help you do what you want to do, but let's go back and let's really dissect a few things. Once we get to there, then we can start to create some goals. And then it's the accountability factor. How can they stay accountable? And that's where the support from either me or an outside, whatever their support system. And then it starts to like, now it's starting to work. And then it becomes life-changing, sustainable change, not just a small fix. I'm not into the small fix. I don't want to do something that it's going to happen for a month or 2 months or da-da-da. And then all of a sudden it's like going to go. I mean, again, that's up to them if they want, you know, but for me, I want to make it life-changing. So I want to talk myself out of a job. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I want to get them empowered like you do, empower them because everybody has it in them. We all have it in us to do it.
All coaches in any realm of coaching are going to tell you the same thing. I mean, I'm a business coach, management consultant. I help people grow their businesses. That's my profession. And it's the same thing. I'll have people come to me and I could see all kinds of cool potential for their business or all the money they can make, all the people they can help, all the stuff they can do. It doesn't matter at all unless and until they want to do it. And it's not my job to try to make somebody do something they don't want to do or even like cajole them or Jedi mind trick them or anything into doing what they don't want to do. I always start with like, what do you want to do and why? And then sometimes we got to do some like trauma work, whatever, just to even get that aligned. Because if the why is like to prove something to my dad, you know, then it's like, okay, well, let's get underneath that. Let's get to a why that's like super clean, super clear, super aligned for you. And it's very positive, very moved toward. And then it's whatever you want. You know, if you want to have a business that makes a few $100,000 a year and just, you know, is a cool job for you, like great. If you want to make millions, if you want to make tens of millions, if you want to sell it, cool. But the goal has to come here. And it's, you know, not everyone, some people I work with have huge, big goals and they want to sell companies and they want to, you know, and they do, and they make tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. And some people, they just want to have a nice life and they want to, you know, they want to provide for their family and they want to spend time with their kids while their kids are at home. And that's fucking cool. I'm just as excited to help somebody do that.
Well, and just like, I mean, it's like the self-determination theory, right? It's either autonomous behavior, it's either you want it, or like you said, because my father wants me to do it. That's an outside. And we know but that's really important to know, especially as a coach. That's really important to know because we know that if it's more of an outside, it may be hard, it may be a little more challenging to get there. Doesn't mean they can't get there, but let's try to find how they can get there, right? Because that's our job. And that's what I love about it is being able to kind of peel back that. And then they find themselves and they get to really go, wow, they hear themselves talk. And maybe I'm sure you find this with your business clients as well. They become that power. They're like, wait a minute, I have this in me. I do have this in me. I can do this for me. And that is so empowering for people. And once people get to that point, you did it. You did it. Look at you like, I did it. And like, I don't even want that anymore. You did that yourself. Nobody said to you, Michelle, don't do that. You may have known you had a reason. Maybe it was your numbers, your blood results, but you did it. And that's so empowering for people. And that's where that's what I love to do, is empower people with your own inner strength. Because everybody on this planet has it. If you're walking around, you have it. You got a gift in you, you have it. And share it. Like, let it out, let it. Because that's what our world needs.
It's about finding that in you, finding what that is for you, finding that alignment for you, setting your own goals. And then there's plenty of us out here who can help you reach those goals. And so if you're listening to this and you're inspired on your health goals, or like me, like a mom that puts yourself aside for a long, long time, and now you want help getting it back together, you should talk to Wendy. Wendy, where can people find you on the internet if they want to get in touch?
Absolutely. I would love it. It's Wendy Feldman Wellness. So my name, Wellness, and they can find me wendyfeldmanwellness.com. You can find me on social at Wendy Feldman _wellness. And yeah, just for a clarity call or whatever, I'd love it. Thank you. I've just been so grateful to be here today with you and see you. And I'm about to jump on a plane and come to DC so we can go salad.
Having a salad party. We're going to like the new trend. We've invented the salad party. It's happening.
A salad party. We're doing it. I know. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do
it. We love it. Thank you, Wendy, for being with us. I really appreciate you being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a total pleasure.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.